Hi all. In this video, I just want to show everybody how we can take an external data source via Odata and use a SOQL query to plot that information on an Analytics Cloud dashboard. It's a really exciting feature that's been added as part of the Spring 17 release. And I just want to show you basically connecting up that external data source and then plotting that information on that graph. So we'll jump to it real quick. The first thing we want to do is create that external Odata connection. So pretty straightforward. I'm using a dev org here today. If I jump into setup and just search for external, we can see we've got external data sources and the external objects. So I'm going to jump into external data sources here, and this is where we can add that new external data source. So out there on the internet, there's a very popular service that many IT admins use to test out OData services, and it's this connection here, the Northwind service. I believe it's hosted by Microsoft, but we can copy this OData service and we can jump back into our new external data source connection and just paste that information in. We can then select the type. So in this case, we have an OData 2 connection. If you have an OData 4 connection, that's totally fine. You can select that, and then we can paste that link in there. So now if I press save, what's really cool is that it's going to go and test this out and add it. If we click validate and sync, it's going to pull back a list of tables. So we've now created a live connection to that external data source. So that's pretty cool. So I need something that's got a dimension and measure. So I'm just going to choose the invoices table here, and I'm going to choose to sync that. And what that's going to do is pull in all of the kind of taxonomy of that table into Salesforce and sync that information. So we can see here, if I scroll down the bottom, we've now got an external object on Salesforce called invoices. So I can click on that and we can see all of those fields that we've pulled in detail. Up the top here, we can see the object name and the API name and the data source here, and we can see all of those fields and data types. So an example here is that we can grab that quantity if we need to, or unit price, and we can grab product name. Okay, so that's awesome. So now what I want to do is just jump into Workbench quickly, and what I might do is just restart it so you can see the process in which we authenticate. So workbench.developerforce.com is just a very easy way to do SOQL or SOQL queries across your Salesforce org. So we're just going to log in here. And the first thing we want to do is just choose SOQL Query, and I'm just going to choose the invoices object. Now, if I scroll down here, you can see that it's got an __x. This basically means that it's an external object. So I can select that now, and basically I can query this data direct. So I think what I wanted to do was unit price. So unit price. I wanted to do product name, and I wanted to do unit price. So if I just comma that and just go unit price __C, okay, and I query that, that's going to query that external data source for me, and it's going to pull back that information. So cool, I've now got the product name and the unit price, so that's awesome. So I'm going to leave that to one side, and now what I'm going to do is just jump into Analytics Cloud, and I'm going to create a dashboard and add that SOQL query into it. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is I'm going to come into the Create button up the top. I'm going to click on Dashboard. I'm going to choose the new Waveboard Dashboard Designer. I'm going to click on Continue. And just so I can get the syntax in the dashboard, I'm just going to quickly create a little graph here, just so I've got the syntax ready to go. And I'm just going to save this as Odata test. Brilliant. So now if I jump in using the Apple key and E and Control and E on Windows to the JSON, I can see that I've got my steps and my widgets down the bottom here. Now what I'll do is I'll jump into my release notes. Okay, so here is as part of the Salesforce Spring 17 release notes, and you can find that on the Salesforce website. I can find on page 253 the SOQL step type, right? So pretty straightforward. I'm just going to copy that, and now I'm going to jump into my code here, and I'm just going to add that step in, right? So I'm going to add a little comma on my all step, paste, and I can see here that I've got SOQL and a step named SOQL now, and all of these relevant parameters. So what I'm now going to do is jump back into Workbench, and I'm just going to copy that query, and I'm going to add it or replace that query that's there now. So I'm going to paste that, and you can see that I've got my select product name and unit price from the object invoices underscore X. And here in strings, I'm just going to change that string to the product name dimension. In numbers, it's my measure, so I'm going to grab that unit price. So I need that to plot that on a bar graph. And in groupings, I'm going to grab that dimension there as well. Okay, so very quickly, the number, the measure in which I want to plot, I'm just going to grab that unit price, and the grouping that I want, that product name for the dimension. So if I press done now, what we're going to see is we've got that step. I'm going to drag and drop it on to my page. Okay, and this is a live query to that external data source that we just found on the internet, right? So that Northwind data source here, we can in essence see all of those unit prices broken down by product. And just to reiterate this, I'm just going to go and adjust that query very quickly. And I'm just going to make sort results by unit price. So if I'm going to jump unit price there and just re-add it in unit price underscore underscore C, copy that query. Okay, so what should happen now is the product name with the total unit price should be descending. Okay, what have I done there? Oh, okay, gotcha. Okay, unit price. Somehow I made a mistake. Order by. Let's go that. Okay, and then comma, that should fix it. Unit price underscore C. All right, now query. Perfect. Okay, so now I'm going to grab that and I'm going to go and chuck it into Analytics Cloud. Okay, so E it out, and now I'm going to paste that in. Okay, and press done, and you can see that now that is querying our data source, and there it is. Okay, so we can see here that our unit price for Coty de Blay has come up the top, and in essence, that is our SOQL query going to an external data source and plotting it. I've got another video that has how we do selection binds across between a SOQL step and a SAQL step, or a Salesforce Analytics step. It's actually not a SAQL step, but you can do it in a SAQL step. So go check that out if you want to see how we pass through the results. But that's basically an OData step, OData query being put onto a Analytics Cloud dashboard.